to start. So again, good evening. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Wissam Al-Husseini. Me and Dr. Basir Khan, we are the co-directors of this program. And Dr. Michael Gardam, who's the director of our Center of Excellence, will also be joining us today for a very interesting info session about what might be. Don't hold me against it, but what might be the most important decision that you're going to make in your career for the upcoming 20 years. You might think that I'm exaggerating. Wait until we show you what we have in store for you, and then you will make a judgment or pass a judgment on that, is that if I'm exaggerating or not. So the way we are going to run this is that the first 20 minutes or so of this session is going to be an introduction, who's the team and what is the program is all about. You will hear from me, from Dr. Basir Khan, from Dr. Michael Gardam, and then we will open it up for Q&A. We have two ways to do this question sessions. Either you can type your questions directly into the chat, and either myself or David will read them out loud and direct it to the professor that will answer this one. Or you can raise your hand, and David will see who is raising their hands and maybe enable you to ask your question verbally. So why don't we, before we start, make sure that everyone knows how to raise their hand digitally. So under participants, there is a button called raise hand. Show David that you can raise your hand so that we can see. Okay, very good. Yes, perfect. Yes, very good. So just make sure that everyone can raise their hand. And in the same place, you can actually lower your hand, the same thing. So go to participant, and then you can press lower hand. That's perfect. So at any moment during our presentation or during the Q&A, you can raise your hand, and David will automatically enable your voice so that you can actually ask your question directly. So if we're ready, let's go. So the name of our program today is Schulich MiniMBA, which is a program, a business leadership program for physicians. What I want to talk about today is I am going to introduce the team. They are going to introduce themselves, and I'm going to make some introduction about the program. I'm going to give an overview about the program. What is it all about, and what is the added value in our program? And then, as I said, that we're going to leave it for Q&A, open it for Q&A. Shall we start with the team? Dr. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself? What do you do at CAG?
Sure, absolutely. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Gardam. A bit of background for me. I'm an infectious diseases physician with an interest in medical leadership. And I'm normally based out of Toronto, where I was at UHN for 20 years and most recently was chief of staff at Humber River Hospital. I'm currently helping with healthcare system restructuring in Prince Edward Island. So I'm actually talking to you from Charlottetown tonight, where we have no COVID. So come on down, lovely place. And basically, my background, in addition to infectious diseases, I've also worked extensively as a consultant and ran a consulting group within UHN where we did international work in patient safety and organizational development. And for Schulich, I run the Physician Leadership Development Program, which started with the OMA about 10 years ago, and then has moved. We did 2 years here in Prince Edward Island, actually, with the Medical Society, and also we're into our second year with a grouping of hospitals in Northern Toronto. So I've been doing that for about 5 or 6 years as well. So very happy to be here. I'm a minor player in this course, but very happy to be here and work along with you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mac. And I believe we're lucky because we were able to get you between your CBC and your Bloomberg interviews. So it's good that to have you with us today. Thank you. Basir, could you please introduce yourself?
Good evening. I'm Basir Khan. I'm an ophthalmologist. I'm currently the chief of ophthalmology at South Lake up in Newmarket. I'm also on staff at Mount Sinai and at the U of T. So I've been in practice for almost 15 years. Geez, it's crazy saying that. But yeah, so I up until very recently, I had relatively no formal training. Opened up my own practice and sort of went down a little bit of a black hole about 7-8 years ago. Actually, got involved in a medical marijuana company and lost a bit of money and quite whatever residual follicles that I had in that experience. But it was a platform for me to want to go get some more formal education. And I ended up doing a something called the Physician CEO Program, which is kind of like a very similar to this program, a little bit more expansive though, but down at Kellogg at Chicago, which is a sister school to the Schulich School of Business. And that was extremely transformative for me. Initially, I'd gone there with the intent of gaining financial literacy, and what I came back was far more transformative, which is a way to think. And physician leadership, physician entrepreneurship is something that I've really sort of taken a passion to, and believe it's something that we don't really discuss we don't, not at all within medical training, within medical development. And I think it's a critical part of, look, as physicians, we are obligated and tasked with being stewards of the healthcare system, but we don't have the training and the background for it. So I think courses like this are incredibly important. The way I got involved in Schulich is I actually helped co-direct, along with my partner, a course a couple of years ago. We were supposed to have year 2 this year, but unfortunately because of COVID, got postponed, for ophthalmology residents across the country. We called it the SMART course. And so basically the idea is that, it's for 4th and 5th year residents and 1st year in practice to basically learn how to transition into practice and understanding the business elements, entrepreneurship, leadership, all those things that, we're great clinicians, but we don't get taught or guided or instructed in these other areas. So the opportunity to, Wissam really did a lot of the pretty much all of the heavy lifting in this course. I'm really here as a tag along, and I more than welcome the opportunity to participate and honored to be here.
No, thank you. Your presence is an added value. And later on during today's session, we're going to ask you for insights about the course that you're going to teach here about growing your own practice. Thank you very much. My name is Wissam Al-Husseini. I'm a professor of strategy and leadership. And right now, I have several capacities. So I am actually a professor at Schulich School of Business. And this one, the channel that we're talking through right now is what we call Schulich Executive Education Center. Here I am the director of the Custom Mini-MBA program, plus other programs. And I'm so excited to introduce this program to you for a very simple reason. What prompted all of this, especially for those of you who had the chance to see the video that Professor Gardam Khan and myself did for you for this program, is that everything was prompted when several physicians approached me and told me that they are preparing for the next step in their careers, which is they either want to grow their practice or they are within their institutions and they are being prepared to handle more managerial duties and so on. And I started thinking, what is needed for a physician? And that's when I started to consult with my colleagues and asking them, if you're a physician and you are super busy and you have been in the same domain for so many years, what are the skills that you need for this? Of course, the obvious answer was I should have told these physicians, obtain our MBA. Our MBA is #1 in Canada. Schulich MBA is actually the #1, voted now for the 3rd year in a row as the top MBA program, Master of Business Administration in Canada. But then I thought the following: I am a very busy physician. I'm not going to spend 2 years learning about business. My practice is there, my career is there. So what should I do? And the obvious answer was, take 2 years. Cherry pick what are the most important skills for a physician, squeeze it into 2 weeks, and then spread it over 6 months that it is suitable for every physician to actually run in parallel their education and their practice at the same time. So what you see in front of you here is the translation of this. What is a Schulich Mini-MBA? this is something where this is a program where you're going to expand your knowledge using the MBA. So it's called Schulich MiniMBA because it is actually the degree that you're going to get is from, has the stamp of Schulich School of Business. We are going to help you on this journey to develop further or further develop your business acumen skills. We are going to help you discover the leader in you and how can you take that leadership potential to new heights. And most importantly, or equally important, is that you are going to be in some of, you are going to be in actually a network where with getting that certificate from our CAG, you are going actually to be in a network of alumni that are like-minded and they cover all sectors. So this Mini-MBA certificate, what is it comprising of? The topics that we cover, we're going to start with strategic planning. How do you develop a strategic mindset? I am a very successful physician. I already have my own practice. I already am progressing. I have 2 years ahead that are reserved for all my surgeries and all my appointments and so on. That's wonderful. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? That course not only is going to ask that question, but also it's going to give you clear tools that you can utilize to chart your direction as you progress through. Then we move into the business of healthcare, where Dr. Michael Gardam is going to come and talk to you. What is the situation of that business? And I will leave it to him to maybe to sum it up or give a quick overview. What does he intend to do in that course?
Thanks. So I think that what I'll do is I'm going to interpret business quite broadly. And so I think it's about doctors interacting with the world around them. So giving a bit of an overview on the system we work in, the hospitals we work in, but also exterior to hospitals, the long-term care world, the pharmacare world, some of the politics of Canadian healthcare, really kind of cover the world that we exist in, because my experience has been physicians often get extremely frustrated with the outside world. And I think it's largely because we're trained to think of patients and diseases and treatments and that sort of thing. And we're not necessarily trained to think in terms of systems. And so I'll be talking about all the different, basically the pond that we live in, and looking at what's private, what's public, that sort of thing. So that I thought would be a nice overview for people, because it's a very bizarre world out there in Canada, and it's helpful to understand it.
Thank you. Thank you. And once we move, we finish this course, we're going to go to further talk about, okay, so what's happening in the healthcare system? What are the emerging innovations? What are the emerging technologies? And how can I utilize them? And how do I play a part in actually making them applicable in my profession? Then actually one of our top instructors, JP Gideon, is going to come and talk to you about how am I going to lead that transformation in the healthcare system. I believe Dr. Basir and Michael are going to talk to us a bit about where do they see maybe this healthcare system moving, and then how do I lead that transformation? What are the tools? What are the different components that I need? Then we actually move further into something that maybe is going to make a difference in all of our lives, which is the bottom line, which is how do I calculate my net present value? How do I calculate the risk? I want to expand. How do I evaluate this expansion? How do I plan for it? How do I budget it? And one of our top actually professors here at CAG is going to handle this and make the context the healthcare system. And then, of course, and Dr. Basir, if you saw the video, he talked a lot about the physician thinking outside the box, the physician being that entrepreneur. So Basir, would you like to tell us about, I know that this is not what you are going to teach, but when
Wissam, sorry, could I just interrupt for a second? Before
Yes.
you go on to that, we're getting a number of questions about whether this is a certificate or a degree
Yes.
program. I think you mentioned degree, so
Yes.
I've been trying to clarify for people what it is. If you want to just clear that up.
Yes, yes, thank you. So what I meant is that it has the Schulich brand. The program has the Schulich brand, but this is a certificate program. And what does that mean for advanced standing? We're going to talk about that after we finish this presentation, where we are going to tell you about what credits can you get out of this program that will help you in other organizations or partner organizations. So this is a certificate program from our Executive Education Center that has the Schulich stamp on it. Yes. So Basir, would you like to talk? You mentioned something about how the physician should always be thinking outside the box. Could you reflect on that a bit? Could you unmute, please?
Sorry about that. Sorry, the challenge for physicians is because the decisions that we make on a daily basis have to do with patient lives and their outcomes. We have very low risk thresholds. I mean, we always do no harm. We always want to be able to make sure that, we're not causing a problem. We don't take risks as physicians, and nor should we when it's in the context of patients. The flip side is, and this is a very uncomfortable construct for physicians, is we need to put that on its head when we're talking about innovation entrepreneurship. We need to be able to flip it around and understand that failure is actually leads to success. That you fail often and fail early is a concept with innovation and ideation and entrepreneurship that we have to be able to accept. And it's something that's very uncomfortable for us because in everything else that we do, failure, to the most, without sounding too much like a Trekkie, is not an option, right? So the point is that we really need to be able to understand and wear a different hat under different circumstances. And so just, again, being a bit uncomfortable, being okay with not knowing something, understanding that we have blind spots, and being accepting of failure outside of clinical circumstances is, I think, something that we all need to be able to learn, to be able to be the disruptors and not disrupted as medicine continues to evolve.
Thank you, Basir. And our instructors are going to help you through that course to reignite that entrepreneurial spark or spirit in order for you to fully utilize that. Since I have you here, Basir, why don't you tell us about building a successful practice, which is going to be your session? Actually, the full name is Building and Expanding or Managing Your Successful Practice.
I think, again, we don't get any guidance or leadership in this in our medical education. And I think what a lot of people and a lot of our colleagues don't understand is that when you run a practice, you're actually running a small business, and you have to be able to think of it in that sense. And the problem is that anytime you talk about money in medicine, often there's a conflation that talking about money somehow makes us unethical. And I would argue the opposite hypothesis, which is that when you're ethical, you run a more profitable business because ultimately you have longevity. And so the first part of this is being able to understand that there's nothing wrong with being profitable. There are certain things that you're going to be able to do for the purposes of generating revenue, and other things that you're going to do as a loss leader, be it for a clinical benefit or for marketing and branding, and to be able to grow your practice. And then once you've gone through that mindset, what are the different options? There are many different ways of setting up a practice, be it through associates, through partnerships, through multi-level or just solo partner practices. So just going through the different potential opportunities that exist there and making sure that, again, especially for more of our younger colleagues, what are your options and how to pivot as you continue to grow in your practice?
Okay. Thank you, Basir. And I'm sure that this question is going to come up later in the Q&A. What if my career decision is not to grow a practice, but actually build a career within an institution? And I believe in your session, we will be touching on that also, right? Like whatever your career path, it is actually about building a successful career. And then, of course, we will be covering marketing and branding. How do you actually understand the market? How do you determine who's the best target audience for you? And how do you create a brand for yourself? Nobody can do it alone. maybe we are trained to think as individuals in this profession, but maybe Dr. Michael could tell us about what is the value in having a team with you? What is the value in having a team, and why did we dedicate this for a session on human resources? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've spent 10 years in physician leadership, and at Humber, I had 700 doctors reporting to me, and through all their chiefs and division heads. And the number one thing that doctors struggle with is human resources and working with people. 99% of us are great at working with patients. This is the working with people who actually report to you, who you're counting on, who may get into trouble, who may show up to work late, who may do this and may do that. And that's what I probably spent 80% of my time doing as chief of staff, was working with my other leaders to help them with human resources management, be they doctors, be it nurses or other staff in their clinics. I can't stress enough how incredibly important that topic is, and it's one that we get zero experience with in our medical training.
Thank you. And our instructors are going to help you with applicable tools to really how do I build a team, and not only build that team, but also push that team to hyper performance that reflects on all the stakeholders that I'm dealing with. And at the end of this program, we are going to take a very important subject, which is how do I create the buy-in? I have this wonderful idea. I have this wonderful ambition in my career. How do I make sure that those around me are going to support me and see my vision, the vision that we started earlier on in the strategic planning one? So we start with setting the vision. We end up with making sure that all the people around you will jump on board. And this is the final session. And guess where is the beauty in all of this? Not only our instructors are the top in their field, not only they will always walk the talk, which means they give a concept, they provide you a tool with application. You are going to have the opportunity during our program to actually do it yourselves. The culmination of this program is that by the time you graduate from our program, you would have worked on something that we call the strategic case project, where each one of you is going to play a role in putting their plan for how do they enhance either their hospital unit or institution unit or their own practice by applying all the tools that we mentioned. What is the strategizing out of this? How do I do the financials for this? How do I bring in the team? How do I know what's happening in the healthcare business so that I am positioning myself properly? All of that is going to be encompassed under that project. So what does that mean for us? It means that when we start this January, by the end of January, till June, we would have covered all of these topics. To make this work for you, we managed to split these topics over 2 days per week, and we have created a gap between the weeks. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks between each session, and we picked always a Friday and a Saturday, Friday afternoon and a Saturday. And of course, we did this after consulting with so many physicians, including my esteemed colleagues here, to see what is the best schedule for a physician, a very busy physician. So let's recap. What is the program in numbers? We're talking about 10 essential business modules, from strategizing to entrepreneurship, to digital transformation, to leadership. We're talking about 9 award-winning instructors. All of our instructors, they are already on your brochure. You can go check them out, read their biographies. We're only picking the best of the best people that speak your language, people that understand your industry. We're talking about 19 lectures that are conveniently designed and scheduled not to interfere with your very busy schedule. Each session is 3 hours, as I said previously. We're talking about a 6 months program. So you start January, by June, you have that certificate in hand. And we have one career-changing project. That career-changing project, you are going to apply everything as you are learning it. You're going to apply it into that project that's going to be the core for what do you plan to do in the upcoming 10 years. So why Schulich Mini-MBA? You are actually taking the latest ideas from the #1 ranked MBA school in Canada. You are going to have interaction with faculty that have more than 30 teaching excellence awards and nominations. And this is what you were asking about. You are going to get credits and designations from leading health care associations such as CCHL, and we have today a representative, and the Royal College. We're going to talk about it more in the Q&A. So I started this by telling you that physicians ask me for the next step in their career. I am telling you that this is the next leap in your career. So how do you make the next leap in your career? Simply pull up your phone, if you may please, pull up your phone now and turn on the camera and go and take this QR code and go to our website. I will go with you, but I will wait for you for a second to actually take the QR code. And I will just show you quickly what is the step that you can take immediately once you go into this. It will take you into this page. It will take you into our page. All the information that I shared maybe a bit about them today, much more is here. What we are looking for here now is this button, enroll now. You can go directly, choose this session, which is winter 2021, January, as I said, and you can immediately create a profile. If you're not already a CAG member, create a profile and register. All the days, all the dates are already here, and by name and the date and everything and timing. So take it into your hands. Your career deserves this. You deserve this. You worked very hard to reach this position, and now it is about to make another leap into your career. So I finished what I want to talk about. We can open it now for Q&A. And as I promised, Michael and Basir are going to be here with us answering any questions. My colleagues have joined us. Robert, if you have any question about logistics or so on, he will be more than happy to answer it. And of course, Stefan has been very kind to join us from CCHL to talk to us about accreditation and the credits that we can use out of this program. So David?
Wissam, would you like me to read some of the questions that we've received?
Yes.
You've answered some of them.
Yes.
Here's one from Gaurav. Are there any formal assessments or tests? How much time commitment is required?
Very good. So the answer is formal assessments. The formal assessment, or the only form of assessment or formal assessment, is going to be the project. So the project, we are going to bring a panel of judges very well experienced in the field, and you are going to present for them, in front of them, and they are going to give you very valuable feedback. So that's our formal form of assessment. Time commitment, of course, this is dependent on the participant. So what we do usually for every session is that there is some pre-work. So we ask you to do some, let's say if you're talking about the HR function, you do some assessment for yourself. If you have teams, you can assess them and so on and bring them with you. But then all the work is contained within the courses themselves. The other work that might take some of your time, but this is again dependent on you and your idea, is the project itself. Since it's ongoing, you are going to dedicate some time for it to work. But again, we're giving you 6 months. So we start in January, we start building the knowledge. by March you are, or by April, you are ready to finish at least 70 or 80% of the project.
Umbreen is asking, if it's a certificate, how will it allow me to compete with someone with a full MBA degree? My answer would have been, if they've got an MBA degree, they probably didn't have time to become a doctor, but Basir did it the other way around. But talk to, I guess the question is, how valuable is a Mini-MBA compared to an MBA?
Very good, very good. So funny enough, on Wednesday, I was giving my strategy and policy course for my MBA students. And one of them is actually a physician. And I told her about this. And she said, where were you 1 year ago? Where were you 1 year ago? I mean, like right now, she's so absorbed between work and so on. She's really facing so much trouble just making these two work. The answer is very simple. With a Mini-MBA program, you can continue excelling at what you are excelling at right now without compromising anything. And by 6 months, you would have had the knowledge that is needed for you to move forward. Now, let's say that after that 6 months, you are so intrigued by the topic and you believe that you are lacking in some of the some of the topics you want to expand on. You have two ways. Either continue with us at SEEK. We have almost a program for every topic that you are going to cover. And you can continue that and pick up, let's say that you're interested in finance or in strategy or so on. Or you are more than welcome to apply for an MBA program. And then you will walk into the class with an advantage. When the professor is talking, you've already witnessed this, lived this, you know about what they are talking.
So if I could add
Michael and Basir, please jump in.
Sure. I was just going to say that, I mean, in my physician leadership development program, which is very analogous to this, you get a master's certificate from that program as well. I've seen physicians in Ontario and here in Prince Edward Island who have taken it, who have rapidly ascended into leadership positions after taking a course like that. I don't think the degree is as important. What's important is your medical degree. And then what additional training you get on top of that is, I think, more important than the actual second degree itself. And as was said, this is a much more convenient thing to do than doing a full MBA. The other comment I'd make is this allows you to get towards becoming a certified health executive with the CCHL, which I am, and which having the CHE after your name as a leader as well, it recognizes that, okay, you've put in some serious work. And I think that those things are extremely valuable. I think if you want to do an MBA and you've got the time to put aside and do all of that to get an MBA, by all means do so. But I do believe you're going to get what you need with programs like this.
Thank you, Michael. Basir?
So we have oh, sorry, Basir, go ahead.
So what I was going to say is, look, when I actually sought out to do my MBA when I first started looking, and I actually applied to Schulich at the time. The pain point for me, honestly, was the time commitment. Sure, all of us have families and other obligations. And what I came across when I came across a program that I did at Kellogg is a little bit more, again, it was a bit more of a time commitment than this is. This is a little bit shorter, but very analogous. And there were a couple of things. Number one is, first of all, courses like this also focus on leadership, which is a big part of it. MBAs tend to focus a little bit more on managerial, sort of mid-level. And I think, physicians need to understand that we are, whether it's in your office or whether in the hospital, you are, especially if you're running your own practice, you are a CEO. You are running an organization and you're at the top of that organization. And so some of the skill sets that you're going to get in a course like this are a little bit different than what you're going to get necessarily in an MBA. I think the most important thing was some sort of, intimated on this was, it wasn't, again, like I said, I sought out this education for me initially for financial literacy. And what I walked away with was a way to think, which I think is far more powerful than any sort of skill set. If I was to summarize, if the knowledge that I gained was a pyramid, at the top of that pyramid was the concept that knowledge falls into three buckets: what you know, what you know you don't know, and what you don't know you don't know. And it's the third bucket that kills people. And I think if anything, doing a program like this takes off the blinders that we have as physicians to understand that there are certainly areas that we don't have knowledge and that we need to expand. And this becomes a life learning process. I think one of the things, we're obligated through our Royal College certifications to get ongoing medical education. One of the commitments that I made to myself was annually to have ongoing business education. So whether that's taking a 1-week course at Schulich or any of the other great business courses, be it remotely in the US or otherwise, this becomes, we are lifelong learners as physicians. I mean, hopefully all people are, but certainly we're obligated to do that. And this is just expanding the scope of the education that you have. I mean, at some point in my career, when my kids are older, I wouldn't mind going back and doing an MBA. I really thoroughly enjoyed being in school and meeting people. But this is a very good balance of getting the skill sets in a short period of time, in a very condensed way, to give you a platform to take advantage of the self-learning capacities that all of us have.
Thank you. David, shall I continue with the questions?
Well,
I can read them.
let me flip the order here, because I think this one might be sort of carrying on from what we just discussed.
Okay.
Umbreen is asking another question. Is this program scalable to US healthcare? I practice on both sides of the border, and I want to know if this course will expand my horizon on both sides. My instinctive answer is yes, but I'll let the experts expand on that.
I might need the help of Robert on this one and Michael. Michael, I believe you are going to talk about the healthcare business in Canada, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be focusing on the Canadian environment. I have worked as a consultant quite a bit in the US. It is a very different world. A lot of the concepts in this course will be readily applicable to both environments. Mine specifically, though, I'm going to talk about Canada.
Thank you. And so the continuation of that answer is that all the other managerial skills are universal. Okay, so all the other ones are universal. So when we talk about strategizing, when we talk about financial management, when we talk about leadership, transformation, when we talk about HR, when we talk about marketing, these are universal. So if you want to practice here in Canada, scale it to the US or even to other parts of the world, it's a universal knowledge or universal topics. Other questions, David?
Yeah, Gaurav is asking, what if I am unable to attend 1 or 2 sessions due to my clinical commitments on call, etc.?
So right now, we still are undecided on recording the sessions, because recording the sessions requires the consent of everyone, and sometimes there are copyrights that are involved that we can't keep on replicating and distributing. So we'll have to see. It might be case by case, but the original plan is that it's a commitment for all the sessions. It's a commitment for all the sessions. Robert, would you like to add to this?
Thank you, Wissam. No, I think you covered it well. Generally speaking, we do not record the sessions, but what we do have available to all participants, if they're not available to attend for any reason, is we have a learning management system, our learning platform called Canvas. And the course material, the PowerPoints, the handouts, the readings, they're all available to you 24/7. Anytime. So even though you're not able to physically attend that session on that day, you have full access to the Canvas portal with all the course material. Wissam, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will use that opportunity to answer another question asked, that do we get the material ahead of time? The answer is definitely yes. And I thank Robert for talking about Canvas. This is a wonderful platform that you will have everything on it. As he said, cases, videos, readings, the material that we cover. So let's say that we missed the material that we cover and any other assignments, you will find it on Canvas, and it is going to be live from the moment you start till the moment you graduate. David?
Wissam, I think we've had a number of questions about credits, so this might be a good time to introduce Stefan and let him make his presentation.
Yes. So Stefan has kindly joined us. We're so happy to announce that this program right now is actually eligible for credits from CCHL. Stefan, I will leave it for you, please.
All right, thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen here. So I've prepared a few slides.
Did I make you a co-host? No, I didn't. Hang on.
It worked. It worked, yes.
There you
So
go.
you can see the slides?
We see it.
Okay, perfect. Well, to begin with, my name is Stéphane Joannette, and I'm the CAG Program Manager at the Canadian College of Health Leaders. The Canadian College of Health Leaders, I'm just going to provide you a very brief overview of the college, and then we'll go through the certification a little more. So the college has been in existence for about 50 years. And so what we do basically is just provide tools and knowledge to health leaders to improve healthcare. So in a nutshell, we help your loved ones in a healthcare setting to get better service. So we have about 4,000 members. Actually, we've just surpassed the 4,000 member mark from each sector, from each health sector and region of Canada, varying in all stages in their careers. So the college, some of the benefits of joining the college is that we have a vast network. We'll talk about the certification in a moment. And we have ability to inspire your thinking and developing your potential. And what we do, how we do that is through a mentorship program and volunteer opportunities. And we also have a number of products and services available to our members, such as our e-learning library. We have a number of webinars and conferences. We have a national mentorship program. We have career advertising on our website. We also have our newsletters. We have a national forum journal, and so on and so forth. We also have a few national events. We have our National Healthcare Leadership Conference that's usually held in person, but because of obvious reasons, we've had to pivot that and hold it digitally this year. We also have a BC focused conference, and we have all of our social media outlets. With that said, we have 20 chapters all across the country. Here's some details about the Toronto chapters. I know that this is a virtual program.
I am going to be off mute now.
Continue, Stefan.
All right. And we have the Leads in a Caring Environment framework out of the Canadian College of Health Leaders. And this is important for the CAG designation that I'm about to talk about. So in order to become a member at the college, as a student enrolled into this program, we have a special price. So as long as you're a student enrolled into an academic program, your registration fee is $70 per year. And if you register now, then you get the balance of 2020 plus 2021. All right, so the CHE program. The CHE program is the only leadership designation in Canada for all health leaders. It's fully aligned to the LEADS domains. It supports self-directed and lifelong learning. There's been, we overhauled this program about 1.5 years ago. And since we've done that, we have seen an incredible amount of interest. And so since then, we've seen a cross-Canadian movement to adopt the CAG as the designation of choice. It provides a community of practice And it shows your dedication to leadership and lifelong learning. So we have 4,000 members at the college, half of which are CHE certified members. And like Dr. Garden mentioned a few minutes ago, he received his designation just last spring. So with that increase of interest in CHEs comes an interest in additional strategic alliance partners. So we have partners across the country who have committed to supporting the CHE, supporting the college itself by implementing the CHE and the LEADS framework in their hiring practices. So for example, in their interviews, they just base their questions on the LEADS domains and are looking for individuals that have that designation. And so we're very pleased that this week we secured a strategic alliance with this program. Robert put some pressure on us to fast track this, and we got this done in record time. All right, so if you're interested in the CHE program, what do you need to do? Well, first and foremost, you need to be a member of the college. And because you're enrolled into this program, you automatically qualify for the CHE program. Let's say you finish this certificate program and then you decide to do your CHE program. Well, what you need is your university degree and 2 years of health leadership experience. I believe you all have your university degree, so I'm not going to talk about the other option. So when the time comes to apply, what do you need? You need your resume, a letter of support. So the letter of support is a letter from your current or past employer or somebody that currently has their CHE certification. So you can all send a request to Dr. Gardam. And so in order to benefit from the advantages that our strategic alliance has to offer, you should also include a proof of enrollment or proof of completion of this Mini-MBA program. All right, so you're accepted into the program. What are the steps? Well, your very first step is to complete a LEADS 360 assessment. And all of this is coordinated by the team at the college. You don't have to worry about outsourcing any services here or there. So a LEADS 360 assessment is basically a survey that you do. You gather about 10 to 15 responders to provide feedback on your leadership skills. There's a report that's generated that's pretty lengthy. And so we assign an executive coach to help you interpret those findings. And so the leadership, the LEADS 360 assessment will highlight your strengths and other areas where are a little weaker. So that 360 is the outcome of the 360 is a leadership development plan. So basically it's an action plan on how you're going to address your weaknesses and strengths that were highlighted in your LEADS 360. So this should take about 3 or 4 months. The next big component of the CHE program is to complete a LEADS learning series. And fortunately, Robert has mapped your whole program, and we've found that it's fully aligned to the LEADS learning series. So you're exempt from completing this part of the program. And this is a significant part. We usually allow up to 18 months to complete this section of the program. The next section is your LEADS in Action project. And the project that you have to do as part of your certificate program is also equivalent to our project. So we're not asking you to reinvent the wheel or to do more work than necessary, so it qualifies. So you don't have to do those 2 big components. As far as evaluation is concerned, we used to have an exam. We've eliminated that. And so what we do now is just ask our candidates to create or to complete a questionnaire. There's like 5 questions on each leads domains, and that pertains to the leadership development plan that you created earlier on. You need to ask somebody in a professional setting to provide a reference for you. So just to review that self-evaluation document, provide feedback and rankings. And then that goes to a panel for review, and that's when you get your designation. So how much does all this cost? Well, the regular fee for the CAG program is $1,600, and because we have the strategic alliance partnership with your program, your fee is $900. So what do you get for the $900? You get your registration fee, you get your 360, your leadership development, and all of the evaluations, including the executive coach debrief. And we've been told that this really is, the executive coach debrief really is one of the highlights of this program. So this is just a summary of the benefits that we have. And this is my last slide. So I tried to make this as fast as possible. I'm going to share this slide deck with Robert, who will share this with everybody else. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. And I believe, Robert, you have complimentary good news also for this to continue. What are our plans for the Mini-MBA also?
Yes. So as part of the Mini-MBA, we're looking at other accreditation as well too. So we have applied to the Royal College as well. That application process takes several months. So we hope to have, in the new year, a response from the Royal College. So the idea is that we want to have, as many credits as possible for this program, including, of course, upon graduation, the Schulich Executive Education Center certificate as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Robert. David, I tried to answer as many questions as possible. Did I miss anything?
That, yeah. Well, I think a number of the questions that have been posed have sort of been covered in what we've been discussing. Can I attend a session later? And we talked about the material being available on Canvas. Have you had people who felt they needed to do a full MBA after their Mini-MBA?
We covered that also. We said that, yes. Regarding, I know that the question that do you have any credits to help us with the MBA? As we speak, these are 2 separate programs. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but as we speak right now, the Mini-MBA is a totally separate program from the Schulich MBA, which is totally different programs.
So right, and one of the other questions along those lines was, is there some sort of confusion between a Mini-MBA and an MBA? And having done what I do for CAG, I can tell you that the concept of a Mini-MBA is very well established, and it is recognized as an alternative for the sake of time and expense. So it's a recognized form of certification, and most people understand that there's no confusion with a full MBA.
Yes, thank you very much, David. So I believe now we don't want to take more of your time. So
yeah, sorry, there was one quick question for Michael.
Yes.
Scott is saying, I have completed the CAG OMA Physician Leadership Certificate. Is this significantly different and additional to that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if I look at the topics, we really didn't cover any of those topics in the CAG OMA program, with the exception of some of the sort of strategic leadership stuff. But I would say 95% of this is going to be unique from that program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Minimum number of students for a session to be initiated.
Robert?
Well, we anticipate that this program will sell out. Will be sold out because there's been a lot of interest. We typically will have between 15 to 25 participants. So it's better to sign up, because it will be a first come, first serve basis.
Thank you. Thank you. So we made that decision early on that it is going to be a priority is for those who are going to register earliest. We would love to include everyone, but we have these restrictions on the numbers for this to be effective. So
two quick final questions.
yes.
Will there be credits available in association with the College of Family Physicians of Canada?
Robert?
So I'll answer that. We're looking at that. We haven't confirmed it. Right now, we just have with the Canadian Health Executive with Stefan. We are also looking at the Royal College. We will be looking at, the family physicians. So that is very possible. And maybe what I'll do is I'll put my email address up. And then that way, if people have questions, they can ask me. Also, too, my email address is on the actual brochure, so they can follow up that way as well, too.
And the final question for the evening, I suspect, because we're just getting close to 7, is how much of the work is team-based versus individual?
Very good. During the sessions, the professors, to make this very interactive, are going to be alternating very quickly or very frequently between team-based and individual work. The project in itself, we are going to give the option for individual versus team work. So it is going to be a combination of both, because we need both skills. We need the skill of you being a critical thinker on your own, and we need you to be a very strong team player. So we need the complementary skills.
And the Zoom breakout rooms help facilitate that
yes.
greatly.
Yes, we did not have the time today to show you all the bells and whistles of Zoom, but you can easily go to our evaluation at CAG. Read what the participants since March until today are just saying about our virtual setting. We are exceeding expectations. These are all very highly regarded professionals and executives, and many of them are repeating. So this is something I'm reading a lot in the evaluations, is that I never thought that virtual could be as interesting and engaging as this. So this is something that we're good at, actually we're excellent at, and we're going to continue in excelling at. Okay, so I will conclude by the following. I always tell leaders like yourselves, always tell them that there are 3 types of people. There are those who make things happen. There are those who watch things happen, and there are those that don't know what's happening. My experience with physicians is that they are usually the first 2, which is those who make things happen or watch things happen. I hope that you are going to focus on the first type, which is make things happening. Make things happen. You can make the next leap in your career. Just take out your phone, go there, and you will automatically be directed to what might be the most important decision in the upcoming 10 years of your career. Any final thoughts from Michael or Basir? You are on mute, Michael. Yes, we can hear you now, I think.
Okay, yeah, I just was saying, no, I hope everybody got what they needed in the introduction, and I look forward to seeing you in the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Basir?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all your time. Thank you, David, for the wonderful support. Thank you, Robert, Stefan, for sharing that wonderful information. And thank you for my co-directors and colleagues, Dr. Michael Gardam and Dr. Basir Khan. Thank you.
Yeah, and Wissam, let me just apologize to Andrew, who had his hand up, but unfortunately we've run out of time.
My email is available. If you want to ask any question, you can directly, it's in the brochure, so you can just send it to me and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions for Andrew or for anyone else. And my team, my colleagues, my esteemed colleagues, Robert and Deborah is also here to answer all of your questions. So just send us an email and we'll be more than happy to accommodate your requests. Okay, so thank you very much. David, can you adjourn the meeting for the attendees?